Hey everybody, it's Christina Holloway here. Today we're going to talk about what great bosses get right. Last week we talked about what it means to have a toxic boss and how to get in front of some of those toxic behaviors. And this week we're going to talk about examples of what it looks like to have a great boss. Why is this helpful? Well, first, if you're working with a great boss, terrific. Also, if you want to be a great boss or you want to show up as somebody who emulates those characteristics, today we're going to discuss all of it. Real quick, if you like this video and you enjoy this content, please feel free to like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. My name is Christina Holloway, and I am here to help you succeed in your biggest career ambitions. All right, so let's get started. Working with a really great boss allows you to be successful in areas you couldn't possibly have imagined. I've had wonderful bosses, and as much as I've shared how I've worked with toxic bosses and the impact that's had on me, I also have had really wonderful bosses, ones who asked me to show up in a way I never imagined I was capable of doing. There are 5 ways you can show up as a really effective, wonderful boss, and I'm going to go through those 5 categories right now. All right, so let's get started. Number 1, hands off. There are bosses who love to be involved, and it's okay for them to be involved in the beginning. What you're looking for is a hands-off approach, which means after a certain point, they develop trust with you, and they're able to let you continue knowing that you're going to get the process right each time and knowing that you're going to check in with them repeatedly and predictably so that they get the updates they need. Now, this is the difference between being a micromanager and being a hands-off manager. A micromanager cannot help but try to get you to do a process the way they want you to do it. They get lost in the idea that if you don't do it their way, you're not doing it the right way. A hands-off boss gives you a framework by which you can be successful and asks you to show up and deliver in that framework. Find your own solutions and then come forward and say, here's how I was successful. And they're happy for you. You're finding your own solutions and your own methodology, your own way of being successful. That's a hands-off boss. Number 2, they create space for you to drive. What does that mean? They allow you to learn, make your own mistakes, come back, figure out the solution, and then try again. They're allowing you to find a space where you can learn and you can drive your own progress to a certain point and then check in with them. And make no mistake, a boss who lets you drive is still there. Let's say maybe they're in the passenger seat or they're in the back seat, but they're not back seat driving. They're just going along with you on the journey to make sure you get there okay. So a little bit more like a navigator and not a backseat driver. Number 3, they let you create your own opportunities. What does this mean? You are empowered to look around for projects that you feel are going to be the best for you to grow your skills, and you can go to your boss and say, I think I'd like to start learning in this area. And they should be able to encourage you. Yeah, that looks like a great place for you to be. Or if those are skills you'd like to develop, let me help you get over there. Let me help you get on that project, or let me help you be successful in that space. What do you need from me? Now, again, with a toxic boss or one who's just a little not very good at what they're doing, they may try to drive you in a certain direction. For example, you're all working in this particular area. Why would you want to branch out and do different work? I'm not so sure that's going to be feasible or reasonable for the work you're doing here. A little bit myopic, and they're not looking at the breadth of who you are. And the problem is there are bosses out there who will say your only job is to do this, and that they're not interested or they're just not aware that people who work on their team eventually grow out of it. And when they do, they need somebody to advocate for them so they can move on to the next big thing. So a boss who allows you to explore opportunities and come back with, here are my ideas, here's where I think I'd like to go, is a great boss. Number 4, they lead where you need them. Bosses many times have a tendency to show up in a blanket. Here's how I'm going to lead people. and they give the same solution to everybody. Alternatively, a great boss can come to you and say, I see you're doing great work. I'm here to see where you need support, and just tell me these areas so that I can show up for you when you need me. It's less about them showing up for their own strengths, right? As a boss, we can get caught up in thinking my best way to show up for my team is to be there and help them with conversations or conflict, or help them with managing their daily workload, or help them with delivering presentations. But if some of them don't need that help, then you're not being effective as a boss. So what's most helpful here is if a boss can come to you and say, I happen to see you're struggling in this area. Would you like additional resources, or is there anything I can do to help you here? And you could very well say, oh, I didn't realize you saw me as struggling, or yeah, I just didn't come to you because I didn't know how to ask. Or you can say, no, however, I am struggling over there. Is there a way that you can give me resources over there? So a great boss is actually open to having a conversation about where they can help you, not their only way that they know how to help you, right? And number 5, a great boss has presence and confidence. I was just speaking about this today with another client, because this is the hard part. We don't realize as we are a boss, or anybody in the workplace, how we impact the people around us. I remember the people who were my best bosses. And for a long time after one of them, who gave me great empowerment and made me feel valuable on her team, I would ask myself, if I were her, what would I do in this situation? For years, I asked myself, what would she do? What would she do in this position? What would she do if she were faced with this situation or this challenge? We have an impact on the people around us. So our ability to just show up with confidence and handle situations to the best that we can serves as an example for those around us. Now, we just want to spend time serving as an example in a positive way, and not serving as an example of what not to do. But I had a boss who used to tell me all the time, why don't you go and solve this? Why don't you get in front of these people? Why don't you create that solution? And then I'll come in and we'll talk about it. And I never forgot about how she dealt with it. I also never forgot about a meeting that we had with a person who I thought was really challenging. And she said, I'll deal with it. And she was very direct. She put him in his place, and she told him to stay focused in a specific area. And for me, the ability for her to communicate effectively across many different situations helped me realize where I needed to develop my skills. Her communication and her ability to show up with confidence no matter what she was facing. And of course, she was a seasoned professional, really high up in the organization, and clearly her confidence was shining through. You can also be that person who starts to emulate that level of confidence, asking yourself, how am I going to show up and at least feel strong or feel good about the way I communicated or the way I interacted? And then show as an example to others around you how you're mentoring them. They're going to see you show up for them. So if someone says to you, yeah, you know what? I do need help. I'm having a problem with this other team, and they're not working with me, and they're not collaborating or cooperating with me. Okay. If your boss says, let me get on a call with them, pay attention to how that person diffuses the situation or sticks up for you or defends your decisions. And then when you get off the phone, say, what are we going to do next? And all of this is related to how they can show up and impact the people around them. Really great bosses leave a legacy. They're teaching you how to show up for work, how to navigate difficult situations, and how to communicate effectively so that work doesn't become overwhelming. And from there, you're actually going out to other areas once you get promoted or you transfer jobs or you leave, but you're going to take some of that with you. And that's what a really great boss does, allows you to take the good parts of the way they showed up and help you incorporate that into your own ability to develop your leadership skills. All right, so that's it for this video on what the best bosses get right. We talked about 5 areas: how to be hands-off, how to create space for you to drive, how to create opportunities for you, how to make sure that they're leading where you need them, and how to show up with confidence and presence so that you can learn from them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.